Hello and welcome to this Really Simple Systems webinar, where today I'll be demonstrating the advanced reporting program available in our enterprise plan, as well as our custom charts widgets. We'll be talking you through some of the different advanced options that are available in the plan, for example, the output options, report permissions, runtime options, and or options, summarizing, subtotaling, and scheduling. Then we'll take a look at how to create custom charts to have personalized widgets on your dashboard. First of all, we'll take a look at listing reports. So that's reporting on any past activity and data stored in your CRM. So that includes your sales, tasks, calls handled, your marketing campaigns, etc. And then we'll go to the forecasting reports, where we'll look at the data from your opportunity lines to forecast your sales over the next few weeks or months, whatever you want to report on. So let's go to the CRM system. Here I am in the dashboard of the sales module of my demo system XYZ Sales and Marketing. And the first thing I'm going to do is run through a few examples of reports, and then we'll take a look at the custom charts features. So the first report I'm going to run is a fairly simple report looking at your sales calls for a certain period, so that you could say, let's look at what my team have been up to over a period of time. So let's say, first of all, from the dashboard, I'm going to go to the reports menu, and this brings up a list of reports that I've created previously. I can rerun them from here just by going to the blue arrow on the right hand side. And if I want to create a new listing report, I click on Add Listing. So let's do that. And this brings up the page to create your report. So I'm going to give the report a name. So let's call this a report my sales calls since 1st of January. The scope I'll set to all records. And for the field options, because I want my call activity, I'm going to go to Activity, and that will bring up the relevant fields available for activities. Also on this screen, you've got the Report Permissions tab, and if I click on that and open it up, I can set within the advanced reporting, I can set access to report owner only, which is me, my user group, or all users, and I can set to either run only or run and edit. So I'll give everybody full access to this one as an example, and then I can close that tab to make some space on my screen. So scrolling down the page, here on the left hand side I've got the report fields available, and then I'm going to slide them over into the selected fields space on the right. So first of all, the report fields are the fields that are going to show on my report, so the columns that are going to appear on my report. So let's say on this one, I want to see what my users' calls have been recently. So let's start off on the user tab. So the user initial is where I've got my user details. And then if I go to the account tab, and then let's pull over the account name. And if I scroll down, I'll also add in the account type. And then on the activity tab, I'm going to go and find the activity type. And I've also liked the activity description and the activity created date. So I'll slide those across, and that starts building up my report. And if I scroll down, you've got a report preview, which at this stage is showing all the data that's in the CRM system for those columns that we've already selected, those report fields. So over on the right hand side here, as part of the advanced reporting features, you can then edit your output options to basically tidy up your reports. So let's say on the activity description, let's have a maximum of 50 characters. And on the date, I could just say just the date. I don't need the time or anything. With the other options, probably isn't important. They're only going to be short fields. So next is to go to the criteria fields, and this is where we get to filter the data to limit which accounts we're looking at. So I only want those where we've got an activity type that equals call. So let's go find the activity type again and slide that over. and label that equal to call, and that will pop up. There we go. And let's say we also then want to have the activity date. Say that's greater than or equal to, I'm just going to go back a year just to make sure I've got plenty of data, and put in the 1st of January. And let's say we could also put in a finishing date range. So let's say the activity date less than or equal to, and then go to December 31st. And so we've then got a full year. So you'll see here we've got the operators and so it's going to give us a criteria that fit all those rows. So you have got an option here of an or, but that's then going to give us everything previous to the 31st of December. So here we just want the and you'll see that the preview is updating as we go. On the final tab, the sort fields, this is where I then get to sort of decide on how the report looks, the order of things. So I could say let's put it by user initial and have that in ascending order, but also let's subtotal by user. And on the account name, if I slide that one over, I can have ascending and summarize. And what that will do is if we've got multiple calls to the same account in the period, then that will show us 2 or 3 rather than just 1 in the account section. Oh, that's what I've forgotten here, sorry. On the report field I need to add in the activity count, and that will give us the volume of activities, volume of calls. There we go, so that's now showing on the preview at the bottom. Okay, so I think I'm happy with my report. So if I head up to the top of the page, if I click save, that then gives me the option to either schedule the report or run the report. So let's run the report. You can either run it to your screen, to a PDF or to a CSV. But I'm just going to run it to the screen for now so that we can do that quickly and run the report. And there I have my report that's total by my users. I've got a subtotal for each user, and I've got a little summary there of the activity description over that period. The report is automatically added back to the summary list on the reports menu, and I can run that again at any time I wish to, or go in and edit it just by clicking on the report name. If I want to schedule the report, if I go to the schedule report button, and then I can add this in, sales calls, and I can set up what output I want. So let's say I want it in a PDF. Let's say I want it weekly on a Wednesday at 9 AM. And then if I just save that, that's then going to deliver that report to me in my inbox each week. Okay, let's now look at another example. So maybe another type of report you might want to run is a listing report to see opportunities won by your sales team, say over a 12-month period. It could also be your opportunities lost over the same period. So you could do exactly the same report, just changing the option there. So let's go to add listing, and I'm going to call this one opportunities won for 12 months. Let's go all records, and on the field options I need opportunity. Scrolling down to my fields, on the account level let's have the account name, and I'd also like the account type. Let's find that one, slide it across, and on the opportunity tab I'd like the opportunity count, there it is, and the opportunity value, and the opportunity close date. And on my users, I want my user initials. I'm going to pop that one at the top. So let me just check on my preview whether I've got everything I'm looking for. I think so. Oh, sounds good. And let's say on these output options, is there anything I need to do here? No, I think let's just change the close date to just the date. I don't need the time. Sorry, or I could put the time as well, but I think just the date. Over my criteria fields, here I'm going to set the first criteria to the opportunity status of 1. So find opportunity status equal to 1 and select that one. I could also say have the opportunity value, and let's say we'll do greater than or equal to 5,000. And we could also say let's have the opportunity close date, so or the opportunity close date is greater than or equal to, let's go and find 1st of January. And what I can do here, you see we've got a column here called Runtime. If I click for that, the Runtime box, this is going to give me the option to change that date when I come to run the report. So if it's a report that I'm likely to run on a regular basis, I may want to change that each time. On the sort fields, let's say we want to put in the sort by the user initials again, so slide user initials over and subtotal there, and the opportunity close date and I can change that to descending, and maybe want to put in the opportunity value, and then if I summarize that, if I've got more than one opportunity outstanding for a particular account, then the system will group those together into one row. Okay, so once I'm happy with my preview again, if I go up to the top and save the report and then run the report. So this is where I get the option to change my runtime fields. So maybe I don't want to do it from January, maybe I want to do it from February, or I could skip the date completely by ticking the box here and then just run the report, and that's going to give me my opportunities one for the last 12 months. Another type of listing report you might want to run is to look at which of your customers have not been contacted for a set period. So let's say we wanted to see who have we not been in touch with for the last 6 weeks. So if I go to add listing, and let's call this one customers not contacted for 6 weeks. Change to all records, and if you go to the field options here, you'll see that you've now got a option called last activity. So if I select last activity and go down to my fields and then start building up the report fields. So again, let's have my user initials, let's have the account name and the account type. And let's have the activity type. So here we want to see different contact, the last contact that we've made. And I'd also like the activity description so we can see what's been happening. And up the top, the activity date, add that one in. So I can see on my preview again, this is what I'm expecting. I think I was after the activity count. That hasn't picked up. One moment. There we go. So onto the criteria fields, and here I'm going to set the activity date, and in this occasion, so that I can run it as I like without having to think about what was the date 6 weeks ago. If I say less than and change from the calendar to the type, and I'm going to write today minus 42, and that's going to give me 42 days, 6 weeks from today's date. So it's just today minus 42. Let's say we want to whittle it down a bit further. Let's say we put in then the account type equal to customer, and that should just show me my customers or whatever the account type you're using that's relevant to you. On the sort fields, I'd like to sort by my user initials. Slide that one over, and again I'll subtotal. On the account name, and also on the activity date, so that they're in order of who was last contacted. Save the report, and then run the report. And that's then going to give me the activities of anything that's less than 6 weeks ago. And I can maybe, as a case of giving the report to somebody who's going to call out and go through those customers to make sure they've been contacted. So now let's move on to forecasting. And so let's say I want to create a report that's going to show me my sales opportunities for the next 6 months. So let's click Add Forecast, and we've got a slightly different screen but quite similar. So let's call this one Sales Opportunities for 6 months, the scope or records. And the difference here from the standard product is that you've got both opportunity values and opportunity lines, and you've got different date phases you can select from, say for example modified date or account created date. So I'm going to go with the account opportunity close date, and I can also decide whether I want to include my non-forecast opportunities, and maybe I also want unweighted values. Select the number of months, so I'll put 6 months, and I'm going to show the report in months, but it could also be in quarters, half years, etc. So scrolling down to the criteria fields, you've just got the one set of fields to deal with here, and so I'm going to select the account name. From the opportunity tab, let's also have the opportunity name, and I'll have the probability and forecast, and on the user, let's have the user group that I've got set up here, and user initials. Slide that up at the top. And what I'm going to do here, so here you see I've got the option to subtotal at this point here, so I can just tick the box and say I'm going to subtotal by user group. So this is going to show me, so here I think on this demo system I've got UK sales, US sales, and marketing, etc. So it will show my different users according to those user groups and profiles that we've got set up in the system there. So once I'm happy with the setup here, then I'm going to go up to the top and save, run the report, and this is where you then get to select when you want your 6 months to start from. So if you're wanting it from today, but it could be that you were going back or even forward a month. So let's say we wanted it from the 1st of January, run the report, and then that's then going to give me my forecast report for that period. As before, the report has automatically been saved to the report summary, and I can go in and and rerun it or schedule it or edit as I wish. So there's a few reports that hopefully give you an idea of some of the different features that are included in the advanced reporting package, and that might be helpful to you in creating your reports. So we're now going to move on to the custom charts. So this is where you can create bespoke widgets on your dashboard, and then you'll get live data showing you what's happening in your CRM at any one time. So let's say, first of all, I've got in my system here, I've got a few different widgets already set up, but we can go in and create new ones. So at the top of the dashboard, we've got a button, Manage Custom Charts. So if I select that one, and this gives me a list of charts that I've created previously, so it may be that I'm just selecting one from there, or if I click Add, I'm going to create a new one. So you've got a similar screen to the reports screen, but with a few changes. So let's do a few different examples. So I'm going to give you first of all an example of a pie chart, and we're going to call this one accounts by type. So I want to know the different accounts that I've got in my CRM system. So again, I'll go all records, and the field options is accounts. And if I go down to the chart options, so I can select the different type of charts available, but I'll stick with the pie chart here. I'm going to add in a legend, and then looking at the different labels and values, let's say this one I want the account type, and the defaults to the account count. And you'll see obviously on the right of the screen you've got a chart preview which is making up the chart here. And then below that you've got criteria fields like you have with your reports that you can go in and delve deeper and filter out the information that you don't want. So on this example you can see that I've got one small section that's marked red, which is just coming up blank. So for some reason some of my accounts haven't got an account type, and I can get rid of those by saying let's put in the filter account type, slide that across, and if I say not equal to, and if I just leave the type blank, then that'll get rid of that blank field. So because we don't want the blank ones showing, so it's just going to show those that I've got my customer, prospect, supplier and suspect. So once you're happy with the preview, back up the top again, click Save, and then you can click Add to Dashboard. And here you've got the option to adding it to your sales, your marketing, or your service and support. So let's add it to our sales dashboard, create widget, and if I go to sales widget, that's going to load that accounts by type chart to my widgets on that dashboard. So on this next example, I'm going to have a look at creating a chart for my team activity. So let's call this one team activity since 1 January, all records, and on the field option I'll go to activity. For the chart type, let's use the vertical bar chart, and then go for my x-axis, go and find my user initials, and the y-axis go to activities and count, and then that's going to give me a simple chart that shows my users and their activities. Let's say I've actually got 6 users, so let's change the limit of results to 6, and that then adds in the extra user. Maybe I want to limit the date range that I'm looking at because I only wanted to look at since January. So if I go to my activity date, or activity created date I think it is, slide that over and say greater than or equal to I'm going back and we'll just refresh, and that should bring up that chart. There we go. So then I've got all my data for the last year. Let's save that one. And add it to the dashboard. Let's go to the dashboard, and there's that chart. And if you hover over, it shows the actual information. And I think if I click on the columns, it will take me through to more information about those accounts and that user. So let's do one final one. Let's say we're looking at the opportunities won by close date earlier, so we can also create a chart for that as well. So let's say manage custom charts, click a new one there, and call it opportunities won by close date. Change the scope to all records and the field option to opportunity. Let's have a chart type for horizontal bar, and on the x-axis let's go to the opportunity close month, and the y-axis opportunity count. Let's limit the results to 6 rather than 5. And again, I'll just change the date. So let's say the opportunity close date is greater than or equal to January the 1st. Let's refresh. Save the report and add it to the dashboard. And there's that one showing there as well. And I can click through and look at those opportunities. You'll see that you've also got the opportunity here to create gauges and just number only, so you can play around. And there's also some line charts, and we are just working on a new variation where you can add in multi-line charts that will then be able to look at data over different periods. So if you wanted to compare different years, then that will give you the charts for those as well. That's the end of our webinar today, and I hope you found it useful. If you need further help, do take a look at the help drawers in your CRM and click through to our customer support hub for further resources. You can also get help by contacting our customer support team by emailing support@reallysimplesystems.com.